Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, and I welcome you all on behalf of the Rabindranath Tagore University, on behalf of Electronics and Communication Department. So, I welcome all the participants. I welcome Paresh sir, and मुझे परेश सर को सुनना हमेशा से अच्छा लगा है सर, चाहे वो पीएचडी का डिस्कशन हो या फिर सर का कोई लेक्चर हो. So, I welcome you, sir, and all the participants. It's a 2 days workshop. So, first day session will be uh, delivered by Dr. Paresh Rahul, sir, and tomorrow Dr. Pooran, sir. He will continue the second day. So, I think, sir,
We shall start, sir.
most of the faculty members has joined and they are joining. So it is in a actually meeting mode. So they will continue their journey. And Madam, I request you to please proceed and start the workshop.
I am introducing Dr. Parvez Rawat, sir. Dr. Parvez Rawat is doctorate in Electronics and Communication Engineering and has a rich experience of 17 years in academic. He has received PhD in Electronics and Communication from Manet Bhopal in 2014. He has received Bhaskar Teacher Facilitation Award 2016. He has also received Best Faculty Awards in 3 times in the different college. He is certified faculty by IBM. He is a member of IEEE and IETE professional societies for electronics engineers. He is reviewer of IET Journal of Image Processing, Elsevier, IJET, and many other journals. He has guided more than 30 students in digital communication, VLSI, and embedded system. He has providing different training program in IoT solution, image compression and compressive sensing, audio video processing, digital image watermarking, and authentication. So now I request Dr. Parvez sir, please continue the session.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for inviting me for the session. Let me just share the screen and we can right away start the processings. I think presentation is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so ma'am, shall I start now?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much for the introduction part. Good afternoon to everyone over there. So today's it has been given me a talk on designing and research trends and trends on microstrip patch antenna designs. Basically, more my session since the theme is on software simulation part, so therefore we will be more taking over the hands-on session. And we will be taking consideration of a specific case of a probe feed antenna design. Then later on the last part, I will tell you the kind of the patch antennas can be designed by the simulation software we are using as a MATLAB. So there is an independent app designed by the MATLAB, which is provided by the latest versions for the antenna designing. So we'll be concluding it with the kind of the sessions. Okay. So these are the talks which we'll be taking care of. The first thing is, and we will be introducing the very short, in very small time, we will be introducing about the antenna concept. Then right away we switch to the basic patch antenna design. Then we'll be talking about my talk will be over the problem and challenges in antenna patch design, designing of a patch antenna design case. Basically, the mathematical formulation is a very important part. We have actually in this presentation, I have considered the 3 independent patch mathematical modeling in a single presentation. So I will accumulate the mathematical model for the 3 independent patch antennas in a single presentation for the sake of more coverage. Okay. And then finally, we'll be talking about the hands-on using the MATLAB. Now, what exactly is the concept? What exactly is the problems and the challenges? Talk about the antenna design in commercial domain. The concept is if we are working beyond the 1 gigahertz to 30 gigahertz range, that is somewhere in a millimeter waves domain. then the major challenge which we are actually facing is the improvement in the gain. Okay. So whenever we talk about the space communication or the satellite communication case, let us take it an example of a 2 gigahertz with a S-band or the L-band design. The adaptive antenna arrays are actually used from the transmitting end. And now you can see over here, it is a very wide and the bulkier setup which we have to use it for the design of such kind of antenna cases. But the such bulkier setups can be only used on the earth station side. But if we are now more towards the implementation of the micro strip patch antenna domain, the micro strip patch antenna provides us a capability to design it over the simple semiconductor chips, okay, or the PCBs. It can be fabricated over the PCBs. So the concept is to design a very small size antenna with a higher gain applications at significantly high frequency ranges beyond 2 gigahertz to 30 gigahertz range, even at 60 gigahertz range. Okay, so that is what the goal is basically. So what exactly is the antenna? Everybody knows that antenna is a conductor that receiving the electromagnetic waves. So I'm not going into the details, basic details of the antenna design basically here. We will be focusing more over the challenges towards the patch antenna designs, although there is a lot to talk about the basics. But I guess that simple basics must be known to the crowds right now. So the basic goal is, with the invention of the semiconductor technologies, the devices sizes are getting compact day by day. So antennas are required to design for the applications like laptops, space technologies, millimeter wave technologies. So these are the certain such applications where we need a very compact and a small size antennas, because we don't have that large space available with the device and the gadgets. So here the microstrip patch antennas are being used. I will talk about the further applications in biomedical domain later on, and some other domains also we'll talk about later on. How can we design it in that domain also? I will talk about it also later on. The microstrip patch is nothing but it consists of a radiating patch on the one side, that is on the upper side, and a dielectric substrate in between the patch, and there is a ground plane on the bottom. Okay, so there's a minimum 3-layer hierarchy is there. First, there's a ground plane. Then on the top of the ground plane, there is a dielectric substrate, and then dielectric substrate we are actually mounting the microstrip patch. We are actually designing the microstrip patch over there. Now, what is a patch? Patch is generally made up of a conducting metals or the conducting materials actually. Got it? So, okay. So these are the few examples of the antennas which we have actually been using for the laptops, for the Wi-Fi and modem cases. Most of the time now, the slot antennas, basically there is an INF antenna, which is a specific case of a slot antenna only itself, but it has been terminated at one single node. So that is why we call it it is an independent INF antenna, or the patch antenna. Slot antenna and patch antennas are the most commonly used antennas for the laptop designs. Now, this is a simple specific case how the antenna is actually mounted on the laptops or any small tiny gadgets actually. So the patch and the slot are basically, these are the two devices which are actually being used from the printed circuit boards and microcontroller chip technologies. And usually the INF antenna is also in a kind of a slot antenna itself, which is also being used for the development of Wi-Fi modems on the laptops chip designs itself. Now, here is a specific example. We are using an microstrip patch antenna in mobile technologies. Most of the mobiles today, they are having a multiple MIMO kind of a concept, MIMO kind of a concept antennas. So they don't have a single antenna installed on mounted, but there are multiple antennas which are mounted. In old mobile technologies, antenna has been actually installed in the form of a chip, and this is basically nothing but it is a patch antenna, which is designed for around 1.8 gigahertz or somewhere around 800 gigahertz range to be covered. Okay, 800 megahertz range. But usually 1.8 gigahertz is used in European countries. So the most of the European manufacturers, they actually adopt somewhere around 1.8 gigahertz patch for the mobile communication. Now let me just on this slide I will be talking about the few applications, the wide applications for which you can design your patch antennas applications. The maximum patch antennas are basically used for the 2G to 5G applications now. From 2G to 5G, there are various kind of ranges, and the frequency is varying significantly from 2G to 5G. And the next generation 5G technologies, we are talking about the massive arrays, MIMO, massive antenna arrays concept, where 256 cross 256 antenna arrays might have been constructed, or at least 64 by 64 antennas will be used out there. In that case, the kind of microstrip patch antenna arrays are actually used as a MIMO concept for the 5G design. So that is a significant field of research for the future. Okay, if you are research scholar, if you are guiding the researchers, then you must focus over designing and range of MIMO applications for the 5G over domains. Okay, if I talk about further what are the applications for the microstrip antennas, the microstrip antennas can also used in biomedical applications. We might have heard about the skin cancer, lung cancer, that is stomach cancer, or any kind of breast cancers. These kind of diseases are actually been identified. The clotted, the dead cells in the form of the cancerous areas are identified by the help of microstrip patch antennas. In MRI applications, what we do is a microstrip patch antenna can produce microwaves, and those microwaves are having a different pattern with the dead cells and different patterns with the active cells. So based on the comparison, we can identify the amount of dead cells, how many cells are dead, that can also be identified, and it is widely being used in such kind of applications. Okay, so that can be your research part also. Okay, so let me just talk about the very basic concept. If whenever we are designing an antenna, the basic goal is to increase the overall coverage of the antenna design. Ideally, the antenna covers around a 3-dimensional pattern, which is nothing but it is an omnidirectional pattern. But patch antenna is a specific case of an directive antenna. Usually, we use an patch antenna for the directive antenna case rather than for the global kind of coverage of antenna case, because uniformly in all direction, it has been transmitting more towards one independent direction. It is a unidirectional kind of a pattern which we are getting with the patch antenna design. So we have to design the patch antenna. We have to use the patch antenna design for a unidirectional case with a directive case of a problem where you need significant gain, but within a limited amount of space, within a limited amount of size, and the cost too. So this is what something which is been intended, although the diagram is too means it's not that much clear, but this is a simple kind of a case where the patch antenna design will work like this. So what actually we need to identify is this main pattern. This is a main lobe pattern, and within the main lobe pattern, and there will be certain amount of side lobes, or the back lobes might also be there, where the gain will be significantly reduced corresponding to the major lobes. And in between the major lobe and minor lobe, there will be the first null actually. Okay, and there will be one kind of a field where actually we are getting a half power beam weight. So this point is basically, these 2 points are nothing but these 2 points are defining in the half power beam weight. So there is a first null beam weight and there is a half power beam weight, which has to be taken consideration when we are designing the patch antennas. Okay, so another major issue of research over here is the reduction of the side lobe ratio. So this can antennas with multi dual band antenna cases. Now what we are focusing today as a case study, it is a very simple case study of rectangular patch antenna. So here the gain, the ideal gain of a patch antenna is ranging somewhere around 5 to 9 dB. Okay, 5 to 7 dB or 7.5 dB, that is the ideal gain of a simple basic patch antennas. But with the sophisticated PCB designs today, we are designing a multi-band antennas, and that we are designing patch antenna arrays which are giving you significant gain. Okay, so it depends upon your design. Okay, but for today's session, we are just focusing about the basic design of an patch antennas with the simulation part. So we will be just focusing on the gain which is ranging between 5 to 7 dB. Okay, it is a significant gain, although. So this is what the kind of architecture which we are talking about for the patch antenna. Here we are having a simple ground plane, and on the ground plane there is a dielectric material, and on the top of the dielectric material we are actually installing the patch in the form of certain shapes. There can be multiple shapes of the patch. So this is why we call it a micro strip patch antenna. Why we are calling it a micro strip patch? Because there are various kind of feed technologies. There is a coaxial cable. There is one feed technology which is, so actually the concept came from the extension of the micro strip lines. In case of micro strip lines, there is a top plane and there is a bottom plane, and we are actually just cutting out the edges of the top plane, and bottom plane is having a larger area, and therefore the edges of the plane actually radiates. This is the concept of the basic microstrip lines. So we are using the concept of microstrip line for designing the patch antenna concept. Okay, so let us talk about the various structures and the sizes. Say this is a patch. Now we have a ground plane on the bottom. This is the ground plane we have, and on the top of the ground plane there is a substrate. This is the most important part of microstrip patch antenna design, because there are various kind of PCBs which are available for different kind of patch antenna designs at the different frequency ranges. Why? Because the substrate is made up of different alloys and the metals, and it has to provide a specific range of permittivity. Okay, so there is an dielectric constant of the material which varies with the different kind of PCB designs. Okay, I will be talking about the research constant later on. Here you can say that the h is the height of the substrate. Okay, and L is the length of the antenna. This is the length of the antenna. W is the width of the patch. W is the width of the patch. L is the length of the antenna. Is the height of the antenna, and T is the thickness of the patch. Basically, we have. Okay, so these are the 4 constants which are very important while we design the patch antennas. We'll talk about further what are the significance of L, what are the significance of W, what W consists of. We'll talk about later. Okay, so this is what something like in structure look like. Now you can see that this kind of feed is basically called as inset feed. There are 5 types of feed systems which are actually being used for the microstrip patch antenna design. Most frequently for rectangular patch antenna design, we are using this kind of a feed which is called as inset feed. Now see, it is very important which particular part, which particular point we have to feed this particular feed line, which is a microstrip line, or which can be a microwave line, or which can be a coaxial cable also. So this feed probe has to be aligned at a particular point across the W. So how to do that? Actually, this is a case of a impedance matching. For the proper design of an antenna, there should not be any kind of mismatch losses. So we have to reduce the number of side lobes at the minor lobes while we are actually designing the patch. So during the designing the patch, you have to please consider on this cursor. I might know whether it is visible to you, but this cursor which I am varying from by varying the position of the feed, we are actually matching the impedance of the antenna, and we have to set this particular point where exactly the input impedance of the antenna and the impedance of the feed line are actually matched. Got it? So that has to vary. You have to set that. Now you can see here there is a substrate, and this substrate is having a certain dielectric constant, and this dielectric constant is represented by the epsilon r. Okay, and the h, that is the height of substrate, is a major constant over here. And therefore I am talking about, because we are actually feeding the antenna from the one side, we are feeding the antenna from the one side, from the side of the probe, and the other side of the antenna is actually radiating. This side of antenna is actually radiating, and we are feeding the antenna from this side. Therefore I am having a unidirectional radiation pattern, as I have already talked about. So this is the simple nature of the radiation pattern of the microstrip patch antennas, where I'm having a certain small amount of back lobes at the minor lobes because of improper kind of impedance matching. It is not possible to 100% match that impedance in practical cases. So you will always have a small lobe, and then my major lobe will be in the forward direction. Now there are various kind of patch antennas which are possible. Let me just switch from this domain. I am switching the constraint, show you a few things. I wanted to show you a few things over here. It may take some time. Okay. Yeah, I think, is it visible? Ma'am, it is visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is the these are the kind of the patch antennas which you can design with the MATLAB in the latest versions. As you can see here, there are different kind of shapes which are available. You can see here there is a rectangular patch antenna which we are talking about. There can be a circular patch. There can be an elliptical patch. There is one patch which is called as E-notch. Actually, these are nothing but the patch antenna work like a notch antenna. Okay, we are just cutting out the edges of the patch part. So there can be EH, there can be H notch, there can be T notch, and further there are inset feed kind of cases also. Okay, so I will come to this later on. I will talk about few of the design later on at the last part of the session. Okay, so okay, I just wanted to show you that what are the constraints which are available with us during the design part. Okay, I think it is clear. So we can design these kind of patch antennas, different patch antennas. What are the advantages when we use as a researcher? They operate at microwave frequencies where the traditional antennas are not working in feasible. Actually, we today now with the specific gain of somewhere around 5 to 7 or 12 dB gain can be achieved with 60 gigahertz, and range of the microstrip patch antennas are also being designed. Okay, so at 60 gigahertz, the traditional antennas are not actually working over there at these kind of ranges. We are more focusing the patch antenna design for the millimeter wave communication. Even our mobile communication field is also moving towards millimeter wave communication. So it is all about patch over there. So it is a small in size. Then it can be designed over the PCBs. It is not a normal PCB. There are independent PCB printed circuit boards with a different substrate materials which are available in the market. I will talk about later on. There are 7 types of PCB materials which are commercially used for high bandwidth achievement. Okay, the lower fabrication cost, hence it is being mass manufactured. Very important is it supports linear as well as circular polarization. Both kind of polarization it can be supported by. Major drawbacks, because we are in research domain, so these drawbacks are very important for us. Therefore, we have to focus over there. It offers a low efficiency due to the dielectric losses of the conductor loss. There are different dielectric materials which are used for the substrate design. So we research. See, there are different kind of research constraints. So you have to assume, you have to take certain assumptions, and based on the assumptions, I have to select my substrate material. I have to select my PCB, that is printed circuit board. So if the certain PCBs are having higher dielectrics, but higher dielectric constant, they are having a dielectric losses within the conductor. Other thing is it offers a lower gain. Although I'm talking about 5 to 7 dB, but this lower gain is only restricted up to rectangular microstrip pitch. But today, as I have already talked about E notch, there can be multiple dual band antennas with U structure. I will talk about later on how can you do that. If I do some kind of modification, if I do dual band antenna design, this lower gain is not a big problem today. Okay, with the PCB designing, I can change that on the software side. So it has a higher level of cross polarization of radiation. Cross polarization of radiation means there are two field of electric field component. One is a vertical component, one is a horizontal component. So EV and EH, that is a horizontal electric field, and the vertical electric field component radiated from the domain, they might have a cross polarization because the beam width for which I'm actually designing my patch antenna is a slightly on the lower side. Okay, it depends upon the width of the patch. So therefore, there may be a possibility of cross polarization, and we have to consider it over the design. So it has a lower hiding capability and as well as mounting capability. Feed, there can be a different kind of feed points. There are 5 different kind of feed structures that can be considered during the design. So what are the problems while I'm designing the microstrip patch antenna I have to focus for? First is most of the previous papers, they focused over the bandwidth improvement, basically. That means at how much frequency range you can design your patch antenna. That is, there are 2 things. One is operating frequency, which is called as critical frequency, and second is bandwidth. So basically what I want is the bandwidth of operation for the antenna must improve. And while I'm improving on the bandwidth side, I must consider that voltage standing wave ratio, because I'm feeding it with certain feed lines. And while I'm feeding it with feed lines, I must consider that voltage standing wave ratio must be less than 2. Okay, right? Second is bandwidth is a main task which are to be improved while the performance. Axial ratio is a very important part. Axial ratio and the bandwidth ratio should be less than or equal to 3 dB. We must limit it. Why? Because if I limit the axial ratio, I'm actually going to compensate for the losses, dielectric losses. Okay. Now this is the design which actually we are considering for. There are certain steps. What is the first step? Select the substrate for the design. First step is I have to select the substrate. So I will talk about how can you select the substrate. So there are 3 independent slides I will talk about later, how to select the substrate. Okay. Next, second point is once you have selected the substrate, then for the numerical analysis, there are different types of models which we have to design for the transmission line and consideration of the transmission line model. That means their transmission line model means there is a transverse electromagnetic wave model actually. So that is a TEM transmission line model. Apart from that, there are one model which is called as CAD model, that is computer aided design model. So either I have to consider transmission line model, either I have to consider the CAD model, that is a computer aided design model. Okay, that is to be considered. After designing, we have to provide the input to the antenna with the different feeding methods. It may be fed by the coaxial feed, it may be fed by the probe feed, it may be fed by the microstrip feed, it may be fed by the inset feed. There are 5 different types of feeds which are possible. But while I am designing the antenna, it is very important to avoid the cross polarization. And in order to avoid the cross polarization, what is here? The length. Okay, keep L less than equal to W by L ratio, that is width by length ratio should be between 1 to 1.5. Okay, remember my W by L ratio must be within 1 to 1.5. If you limit the W by L ratio within 1 to 1.5, you are having a possibility of avoiding the cross polarization. Okay, so that is to be considered while you are designing your patch antenna. Your W by L ratio must be within 1.5. Sorry. All right. Now there are different types of softwares. I'm right away moving towards the design. Okay. There are various softwares which can be used. There may be IE3D. There is MATLAB. There is one software called CST, that is computer simulation tool, which is widely used nowadays for this antenna design. These 3-4 softwares are frequently used for the antenna designs. So we will be talking about MATLAB design for the today's section. Now see, as I was talking about, we are working towards the 5G, and in 5G there is a massive antenna arrays are actually used. Now you can see these are the antenna design with the 64 antennas, which are 8x8 antennas are there. So this is an wing of 8x8 microstrip antenna. 64 antenna arrays is there, which can be designed over the chip, and you can see that the gain which can be achieved by this particular kind of application is from -30 dB, and it can extend up to 23.235 dB. So it is a significant improvement. And what I was talking about is a practical case, and that practical case is somewhere in this green domain. This green domain, this is the ideal case of a simple microstrip patch antenna. Even this can be easily achieved by one single antenna design. But if I want to improve the gain, I need to use the antenna array designs. Okay, so this can be done up to 23.35 dB is achievable. Okay, it is a significant gain. Okay, let us talk about the design constraints right away. Now this is the kind of antenna which we are considering right now. We are having a probe feed, we are having a feed line over here, and the length cutting on the both the side is del L. So total length will be, there will be one length which is called as effective length. What is that effective length? It is L plus del L and del L. So L plus twice of del L, that will be the effective length of the antenna. Okay, so there is a cut of del L on this side, there is a cut of del L on this side. Actually, these are the sides which will actually radiate. Okay, there is no radiation along the length. There is no radiation along the length. The antenna radiates along the width. Okay, W. Okay, and we have to consider W by L ratio should be between 1 to 1.5. Okay, so it is the length of the antenna. It is the length of the antenna which decides the critical frequency of operation. That means the frequency of operation at which you are designing the antenna. It is the width W which is actually the deciding factor for the radiation angle and the radiation field patterns of the antenna design. Now that is what I was talking about. There is a vertical field, that is EV, and there is a horizontal field which is called as EH, because electric field is having a vertical component as well as it is having a horizontal component. And when both are equal, then it is called a circular polarization. Okay, so EV and EH can have a cross polarization if you don't maintain the proper W by L ratio. Now this is simply a side view which will give you the pattern how the actual antenna is radiated. Electromagnetic waves within this boundary of your substrate, and since you are having an edge on both the side, this is an edge here, this is an opening on the one side, another side. So since you are having an edge on both the sides, the electromagnetic waves will be radiated from these two sides. Okay, so therefore my antenna will actually have a radiation in this direction, where actually I am going to polarize my W, that is the width. Whatever the direction of W I will be polarizing, that is the direction of the radiation. Now there is another constraint when we are designing the antenna. It is our goal is to maximize the electric field intensity which is radiated from the antenna. Now this is the standard equation used for the rectangular patch antenna design. It is nothing but there are two components. One is the E theta component. Theta is a vertical component and phi is a horizontal component. So E theta is equal to nothing but it is a sine of K. K is a constant which is nothing but 2 pi by lambda, and W is the weight factor which I am talking about, KW into sine theta sine phi upon 2 upon mu, that is KW sine theta sine phi upon 2. And this is a signum function, and signum function multiplied by the cosine function which is nothing but that is KL by 2 into sine theta cos phi. So you can see here there are two types of fields. Okay, now I'm going further. I cannot talk about much here, but lot to talk about, but I cannot talk about much here, but I will talk about few things. There are two functions. One is the sinusoidal function, which is the first part of this function, and second is a cosine function. So actually my field is actually made up of, this is not this sine function, which is a signum function, actually decides the amplitude of the field, and this cosine function actually decides the direction of the radiation component actually, or you can talk about the angle theta. It is more towards the angle theta. That is what the major constraint. Okay, so what are the major factors of W and L? Let us talk about the L is the length of the antenna. L is the factor which is deciding the operating frequency, that is a critical frequency of operation. So if I extend L, actually I'm going to increase the critical frequency of operation. But what about W? W is a major part. W is the parameter which is deciding factor for impedance matching, as I've already talked about, because the feed lines are actually matched across the W. So it is deciding factor for input impedance of the antenna, as well as W is the deciding factor for the radiation factors of the antenna, that how much will be the radiation width, how much will be the radiation height, how much will be the beam area, how much will be the beam width of the radiation pattern. So W is a very important parameter for us. Length is the only factor deciding for the critical frequency of operation. Got it? Because length is the proportionate factor for the lambda by 2 actually. Okay. So what we want? We want more radiation. We want high input impedance of the antenna. We want more bandwidth. So if you want it more, you must have to design your antenna with the maximum W, maximum width of the. But remember, you have to avoid cross polarization. Cross polarization can be also compensated if you want more radiation. It can be considered, and some assumptions can be considered for the cross polarization. Okay, so let us right away move towards the design parameters. Are you there, madam? Is it audible? Hello, it is audible. Okay.
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay, so let us move ahead for the numerical part. Yeah. Let us move ahead for the numerical part. We have talked about the W and W, H, and L. These are the three parameters. But apart from that, epsilon R is nothing but epsilon R is the dielectric constant of the substrate. And from this dielectric constant of substrate, we will be actually deciding the effective dielectric constant, that is epsilon effective. Okay, so that is E effective, we call it. And E effective, there is a standard formula for all rectangular patches, whatever the design you talk about. It is epsilon R by plus 1 by 2 plus epsilon R minus 1 by 2 into 1 plus 12 into H upon W raised to the power 1 by 2. It is under root of this factor. So this first we have to decide the epsilon R. After that, epsilon R will be set by the selection of the substrate. After that, we'll talk about effective R. Once you have calculated the effective R, we have to consider what will be the corresponding del L for this effective R. So the formula is very simple. It is 0.412H in 0.412H into E effective plus 0.3 into W by S. This is the formula I will talk about you. I will give it to this formula, that is L plus WH. Okay. So once you have calculated the 2L, so what I need to find out the effective length. So the formulation and the relation is very simple. L is equal to L effective minus 2L, or L effective is equal to L plus 2Is of del L. So whatever is given, whether I have given L effective, I will calculate L. Whether if I have given me L, I will calculate the L effective from this formulation. Next is you have from this L effective, the L effective can be easily calculated. So if L effective is not known to you, L effective can be easily calculated from the formula, that is C upon twice of FR. FR is the critical frequency of operation into under root of E effective. E effective is the effective relative permittivity of the substrate antenna, actually effective permittivity of the antenna. Okay, so what is C? C is the light velocity of light, which is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second. So C is given to you, and FR is the resonant frequency. It depends upon how much frequency you are actually designing your antenna. If I'm designing my antenna at 1.9 gigahertz, then FR is equal to 1.9 into 10 to the power 9, and so on. So I will calculate L effective, and then we will calculate L. After that, we have to calculate the width of the antenna design. So width is nothing but it is C upon twice of F0. F0 is the critical frequency of operation into epsilon R plus 1 by 2. So this is the width of the factor is being calculated from these two formulations. This is the step number 3. Once I have calculated the length, I have to consider the design parameters. So what are the further design parameters? See, I have merged 3 independent formulations from 3 independent works at a single node so that I can cover the maximum. There is one very important parameter called guide wavelength. What is guide wavelength? That is called as lambda g. Lambda g is nothing but it is the feed line wavelength at which actually I am actually feeding my antenna. And this wavelength is the very important parameter to guide the entire radiation from the any kind of antenna. Okay. So basic lambda is nothing but lambda is the actual wavelength. Actual wavelength is calculated from L by 2, that is length by 2. Okay. Or if you are having frequency of operation f and velocity of light is c, so that it is c upon f. Okay, c upon f will give you the lambda. Lambda is equal to c upon f. So it is the wavelength upon square root of E effective, that is epsilon effective. Okay, lambda upon square root of E effective will give you the guide wavelength. Okay, so we will calculate the guide wavelength for the design first. Once you have calculated the guide wavelength, from the guide wavelength you will decide the feed length. Actually, it is the wavelength of the guide, that is microstrip guidelines, which will decide the feed length. Feed length is the length of the probe, what I am talking about. Okay, so FL is the feed length. It is nothing but it is lambda g by 4. Okay, why lambda g by 4? Because you might have heard there are 3 constants. If it is lambda g by 4, it is resonant line. If it is greater than lambda g by 4, then it is called as inductive in nature. And if it is less than lambda g by 4, then my waveguide will be a capacitive in nature. So since we are talking about resonant waveguide, resonant feed actually, therefore we are talking about lambda g by 4. Okay, we are actually designing at a resonant so that my impedance matching works proper. Next is feed width. Okay, feed length and the feed width. What should be the feed width? The feed width is nothing but it is FW, which is 1 by 2 of FL. Okay, 1 by 2 of FL. Got it? So that is nothing but that is lambda by 8. Lambda g by 8. Okay, so this is something else, that radiation calculations. How can you calculate that what should be the angle and how much will be the radiation area, how much will be the width of radiation, how much will be the length of radiation, and how much will be the height of my radiation which is achieved by the antenna. In order to calculate the radiation parameters, I have to calculate width of substrate and width of length of substrate. I have already calculated W. What is W? W is the width of patch. And what is L? L is the length of patch. Now I am talking about width. SW, that is width of substrate, is W plus 6H. What is H? H is the height of substrate. So W plus 6 times of H must be the ideal substrate width. Okay. So once you calculate the W, we'll calculate the substrate width. I think substrate width must be clear to you all because I have already shown you what is actually is the substrate width. This is what intended. Yeah. This is the width of substrate is this. This is the substrate width. This is the length of the substrate. This is L of substrate, LW, and this is SW. Got it? So we have to calculate the width of substrate and length of substrate. The length of substrate is L plus 6 of times of H. After that, we have to calculate radiation parameters. What are the radiation parameters? Radiation parameters are nothing but AP. AP is equal to minus of lambda g by 2. Okay, that is the actual position we are feeding. So AP is the deciding point for impedance matching. Okay, AP is the deciding point for the impedance matching. Actually, it is the position of the guide where it is the responsible factor for the guide impedance matching. Got it? Then radiation width, that is how much will the radiation width will be. It is nothing but RW is equal to lambda g by 3 plus SW. Okay, so now you can see here I was talking about W in the formula of electric field intensity. I talked about that it is the W which is the main deciding factor for the radiation. So you can see here, as much as the W is, that is the maximum width of RW. Okay, because if SW is more, W is more, then SW is more, and if SW is more, then RW is more. Okay, similarly, if L is more, then RL, that is the length of radiation, is more. So L is nothing but L depends upon the frequency of operation. If my frequency of operation is higher, then L is smaller. Okay. If my frequency of operation is higher, then L is smaller. They are inversely proportional to each other. So therefore, but L also depends upon the substrate size also, but I'm just talking about in general. Okay. Don't get confused. I'm just talking about in general. Okay. Radiation height is RH, which is lambda G by 3 plus H. Now there is another parameter which we have to calculate, that how much will be the radiation resistance of the antenna design. So its radiation resistance is 120 into lambda divided by 1 plus K0 square into H plus 20. Where what is K0? K0 is 2 pi F by 30. Okay, remember K0 is 2 pi F by 30. This 30 factor can be changed actually. This 30 factor depends upon your design actually. But ideally, if nothing is known to you, you can take it 2 pi F by 30. Okay. Now, if you are designing over the circular patch antenna, one parameter is very important, which you have to consider. Rectangular patch antenna, all other parameters are there, but one more important factor, because that is the patch effective radius relationship with the substrate permittivity. So my effective radius is A effective, that is AE is equal to A. A is the actual radius of your patch multiplied by 1 plus 2, that is H is the height of substrate, upon epsilon, okay, upon epsilon R into A, and then log of the pi A upon H into this. These are the relationships which is to be considered. Now see, I just wanted to show you how does the design look like on the PCB. This is the front view of the PCB design. You can see here is a feed line, that may be a coaxial cable, that may be a micro strip line, but here I am just feeding it with a coaxial cable line. So this is the feed length and the feed line, and the front view or the back view look like this. I'm actually feeding the line, and this is the PCB, where the substrate, background on this is the substrate, and this is the patch which I have designed over the length. From the back, it looked like a simple ground plane. This is the ground plane which I am having on the back. I think up to this point it is clear to all. Okay, so I am just taking one theoretical case study, then we'll move on to the actual design on the MATLAB. Now this is very important to talk about, because we have considered that one is gain. See, less gain is no more limitation now, because we have improved a lot over the PCB layout design part. Okay. So there is a U slot antenna, dual band U slot antenna is actually used for designing of your 5G and 4G antennas, mostly in wireless communications. Okay. So U slot antenna design, we have to optimize the ground plane. The basic U plane design look like this. Okay. Basic U design look like this. This is a U notch, which is created over the PCB. That is a U notch. Now, we have to create dual band antenna. So if I have to create dual band antenna, I have to create dual notch. So this is a dual U band antenna. This is one band. This is the another band. Actually, the length is different, width is different. Therefore, the operating range of band 1 and band 2 are different. Overall, this will work on the two bands, which is a dual band antenna. Same antenna will work over the S band as well as C band. Okay, S band is from 2 to 4 gigahertz, and C band moves from around 4 to 8 gigahertz. So the single antenna will work from 2 gigahertz to around 8 gigahertz. It is a broadband antenna which can be designed. Now, while I design such kind of antenna, there are certain other things which you can do, which you can optimize the section of ground plane on the back. So this is basically called as ground plane optimization part, that can be done later on. Okay, I'm just taking it because you are the research scholars. You must research. Okay, let us talk about the first part. The first stage is selection of substrate. Very important. So there, what are the materials? One material is duride. Then there is a benzocyclobutane. Then there is a roser 4350. 4350 is a basic material. There are various ranges. Diuride is also available in 5380, Diuride 6006, Diuride 6008, Diuride 6007. Lot of material available for the Diuride range also. FR4 is basically nothing but it is flammable rounded 4. Basically, it is called as flammable rounded 4 because the PCB is generated by the flammable material actually under the flammable exposure. So the then there is a bakelite. Bakelite is also used for the material. These are the materials which you can use. It is available in the market. Okay, substrate. What is the range of substrate with high dielectric constant must be used for the antenna design. So the concept is, basic concept is you have to select the substrate with high dielectric constant. But what are the other parameters? If I use substrate with a high dielectric constant, other parameter is also called as Rittel loss or dielectric loss. So let us consider what are the dielectric losses. I will share the presentation. No, don't worry. This is a very important part of research. If anybody is working over the patch antenna design, then these are very important parameters. But benzocycline, it is having an epsilon R is 2.6. The minimum epsilon R is been for the foam. But if epsilon R is minimum, that means it will work for the maximum bandwidth. The bandwidth will be maximum. So you have to select the substrate by considering 3 parameters. One is epsilon R should be high. High enough means high enough. Okay. Second, bandwidth constant. How much bandwidth you wanted to achieve? If you select higher epsilon R, your bandwidth might reduce. So you have to take compensation between bandwidth and epsilon R. How much you are actually you wanted to design. Second parameter is loss. That is loss tangents. Loss tangent should be on the minimum side. Okay, loss tangent should be on the minimum side. Okay, but apart from the loss tangent, frequency of operation is also a matter of constraint. Okay, so Rittel loss should be minimum and loss tangent should be minimum. So if I consider 2 of them is very important material. One is RT diuride. RT diuride is actually having an epsilon R of 2.2. Rittel loss is 0.009. But very important factor is it works on 10 gigahertz range. So since I am designing it for the C band, S band, and for the 5G, 4G range, therefore, in case of 5G, 4G range, I have to use what material of RT diuride. Okay, the gain is around 2 gain also. Okay, it provides you the maximum gain and maximum bandwidth with 2.2 as an epsilon R. So I will be taking one case of RT diuride for the design today. Second is FR4. FR4 is also frequently used. Why? Because FR4 is a material which is having a higher dielectric constant than diuride. It is the double dielectric constant than the diuride. So it is 4.4. It has a certain Rittel loss, significant, can be considered. But 5.8 gigahertz is the range of operation. But if I consider corresponding to diuride, you have a Rittel loss of minus 14 dB, and my gain is also sufficient enough for 9.8 dB. So both of them can be used, RT diuride or FR4. These are the frequently used materials now. So let us consider the comparison of substrate with the antenna size reduction. As I have already talked about, the highest size reduction is considered by the foam. Why? Because if your epsilon R is minimum, your reduction in size will be highest. Okay, and bandwidth is also maximum. So my bandwidth is also maximum. Got it? So, but the constant is we are not using it for the reduction in size. We are actually using it for the maximum radiation as well as gain. These are the important parameters, and efficiency is also very important parameter. So consider FR4 is the material which is frequently used nowadays because it is having a medium reduction in size as well as achievable bandwidth, as well as it is having a maximum efficiency of 99.6%. Got it? Now, if I talk about RT diuride, RT diuride is having a maximum efficiency achievable up to 88.6%. Got it? So we will consider these cases. Now, these are the other parameters which you can consider for during the design. You can compare this parameter. I'm not going into the details of these parameters. I've already talked about much in this. But what exactly is this slide? It shows you the length and width of the antennas corresponding to different materials. I will just compare two materials over here, which is FR4 as well as we'll consider the RT Durite. Why RT Durite has to be considered? It is having an efficiency of only 88%. And FR4 is having an efficiency of 99%. But if you consider the length, effective length of patch, the effective length of patch with FR4 is around 6.4, but effective length of RT Durite with the same 2.2 gigahertz is around 9.6 millimeter. So if a length is more, obviously, if a length is more, the better the frequency of operation should be there. Length should be less, but W should be higher. So if I say that W is higher, that radiation is higher. So you can see that for the RT Durite, my width of the W substrate material as well as width of the patch is higher, corresponding to my FR4. So either I will use FR4 or either I will use RT Durite. Most of the applications are using FR4 now, and RT Durite is also slightly. So here is the quick study, which right now I'm just moving towards the, till now, I think it is clear to everyone. So I will be moving towards the design part. I'm moving towards the MATLAB part right now here. And before moving to the MATLAB part, what I will, okay, later on, I will be sharing all the codes to you. But here I am taking a consideration, a case study for design, which is, that is Roger, Rogers is the company, which is, and the scientist name. So RT Durite 5880 is chosen for the study. We are height of substrate material is 0.508 millimeter. Okay, the size is 100 millimeter by 100 millimeter board is provided to us. Epsilon R for RT Durite, I have already told you, it is 2.2. Okay, what an antenna is designed for GSM, that is mobile communication purpose. So my bandwidth is that is FR, that is resonant frequency, is 1.9 gigahertz. Okay, why 1.9 gigahertz? Because this specific case study is actually designed for the European countries, and in European countries it is considered as 1.9 gigahertz, 1.8 to 1.9 gigahertz, and India it is 800 megahertz to 900 megahertz. So it is 0.9 gigahertz in India. Okay. So use an equation for the Microsoft Excel. We are having actually W is provided to us as 6.24 centimeter. L is the length, which is 5.3 centimeter. We will calculate the W and L corresponding to the parameters provided to us. Only 3 parameters is required. One is H. Okay, I am taking first consideration. In first case, I am already provided H. I have provided epsilon R because I have considered the Durite. And second, consider Zin. What is Zin? 151.8 ohms is the Zin, that is input impedance. Actually, I am feeding it with the transmission line model. So if you consider the transmission line model, the minimum, if Zin is not given to you, you can consider it as 50 ohms, because the characteristic impedance of the transmission line feeding system is around 50 ohms. Okay, but you can design it for any kind of Zin. So my Zin is input impedance is around 151.8 ohms. Okay, now you can see here for Sonet is the application we are using for optical fiber networks. Basically, it is Sonets. So if I'm using it for the optical fiber networks, then in that case, my Zin is around 209.7 ohms for the same 1.8 gigahertz range. Okay, so what is intended? This is the final desired frequency response, which is actually intended. You can see here my actual filter response is terminated approximately at 1.8 gigahertz, shown by the arrow. This is approximately at 1.8 gigahertz, which is my cutoff frequency, which is the my antenna. And see, these are the gain where actually I'm getting it, and somewhere 0.707% is somewhere here. So there should be minus 0.6 dB, approximately at minus 0.6 or minus 0.5 dB. gain, I'm getting the maximum resonant frequency. Okay, I think it is clear. Actually, the gain, this gain is actually not considered on the top. Actually, I have to consider it at 0.707, that is 1/√2 of actual cutoff current frequency. This is the ideal gain, or the practical gain should be considered somewhere here correspondingly for the design constraint. Okay, so that is what theoretical part. Is there any question till now? I will be moving towards the code part. Any questions till now? Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. Participants, if you are having any question.
Okay, let me move on to the design part, and then later on we can have a cross question part, because I will just take around next half an hour to show you few of the hands-on codes. I will be taking on the next 20-25 minutes to wind up. Okay. Now see, this is the simple code which we have written in MATLAB. When you open the MATLAB, we are just okay. When we open the MATLAB, we are having an editor window and we are having a simple window. So this is the actual MATLAB working environment. This is the actual working MATLAB environment which we are having. There is a command window, there is a workspace on the right hand side. Okay, here actually your program is executed. Got it? So I have just written a simple code. See, I have taken a case study. If you might have remembered, what is the case study? My case study is I have considered duroid, and for duroid I have given h. H is what? Height of antenna. So what are the parameters to be considered here is enter the permittivity. Permittivity means epsilon r. So what is the epsilon r for duroid? It is 2.2. Okay. Second is enter the height of substrate. Height of substrate which we will be considering is 0.508 millimeter, because it is given to us for the case of design. Okay, for a specific case. Next specific case is the frequency range of operation for which I am actually designing the system, and it has to be entered in the form of gigahertz. So I have to design the antenna for GSM band at European countries. So it is 1.9 gigahertz is my frequency. So I will enter it 1.9 over there. Automatically it will take in 10 to the power 9 later on multiplied by. And second, last parameter is very important, which is input impedance, desired input impedance at which you are actually designing for the antenna. So my input impedance, once I will run it for 50 ohm, then we will run it for 151.8 ohms, and then I will also show it for you can even run it for 209 ohms. Okay, so I will just take it 151.8 ohms. Okay, we will round off to 151 ohms. Clear? So let me just show you after entering all these parameters. I will have h, I will have epsilon r, I will have fr, which is my resonant frequency. Next is I will have Zin, that is input impedance. So if you are having fr, you can calculate L effective. What is my formula for L effective? L effective is nothing but C upon under root of E effective. So first thing, from epsilon r I have to calculate E effective. Okay, so now here you can see that I have multiplied h with 10 to the power minus 3 because it was in millimeter. Then frequency is multiplied by 10 to the power 9 because it was in gigahertz. Then I have calculated the wavelength. Wavelength is lambda. Lambda is nothing but y is defined as a lambda over in the here. So lambda is nothing but C upon f. C is nothing but velocity of light. So what is C? It's 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second upon f. F is 1.9 into 10 to the power 9 gigahertz. I will get the wavelength over there. Once you calculate the wavelength, you have to calculate W. W is the width of patch. What was the formula for W? It is nothing but C upon 2f under root of twice 2 upon epsilon r plus 1. Okay, so I have calculated W. W is equal to C upon C into SQRT of 2 upon E is nothing but epsilon r, which I have taken over here is consideration, plus 1. Okay, then effective permittivity, that is E effective. If you have remember, it was nothing but it is epsilon r plus 1 by 2 plus epsilon r minus 1 by 2 plus square root of 1 plus 12 into h by w. That is what the formula. So I will use this formula, and using this formula we have actually calculated the effective permittivity. Is it clear? Using this formula I have calculated effective permittivity. Once you have calculated effective permittivity, then what? Then we have to use what? That is L effective. L effective is equal to nothing but, I have already talked about, C upon 2 of f into square root of E effective. E effective I have already calculated. Okay, MATLAB is a top to bottom approach. So whatever is required first, you have to calculate it first, and then only it will consider on the bottom side. So it moves from top to bottom approach. So all the parameters must be in sync. Okay, so I have calculated L effective. Once you calculate the L effective, the del L is considered. Del L, the formulation is very simple. It was 0.412 into H. I have already talked about, into E effective plus 0.3 multiplied by W by H, W upon H, okay, plus 0.26 into, whenever you have to multiply, you have a sign of asterisk, and whenever slash, backslash. Okay, got it? And then this is the formula, entire formula, which actually calculates the same formula which I have talked about in my presentation, del L. Once you have calculated the del L, what you want? You want to calculate L. L is equal to L effective minus twice of del L. So I have calculated what should be my effective length of patch. This is the patch length. Once you have calculated the patch length, I have already calculated W. Okay, that is a page width. So I need to calculate what? Width of substrate. I have calculated the width of substrate, SW. SW is equal to nothing but, it should be W plus 6 times of H. That is what we have calculated. The length of substrate is nothing but SL. SL is equal to what? L plus 6 times of H. You will calculate the length of substrate. After that, very important part which I have added here is the guide wavelength. What is the guide wavelength? Guide wavelength is lambda g. It is nothing but, it is lambda upon under root of epsilon r effective. Okay, so it is lambda upon square root. Okay, there is one function in MATLAB called square root. SQRT is the function which is used to calculate the square root of the signal. So I have just taken SQRT, then I have taken bracket, and under the bracket it has been represented as epsilon effective. So this equation is actually calculating the square root of the particular variable right away. All right. After that, what is the feed length? Feed length was nothing but, it is lambda g by 4. I have already talked about why lambda. We are actually designing the system at the resonant wavelength. Okay, so there should be an impedance matching, losses should be minimum. Therefore, I have considered lambda g by 4. Next is feed wavelength. Feed width is actually 1/2 of FL. Because why feed width is 1/2 of FL? Because the length of the guide must be twice greater than that of the length of the width, actually width of the feed. Got it? Then the radiation position, that is AP. AP is minus 1/2 of lambda g. Radiation width I have already talked about, 1/3 times of it. It is 1/3. So I will take on 1/3. Entire 1/3 is multiplied by lambda g. This entire factor is added by the SW. Got it? Radiation effective length. So effective length is 1/3 times of lambda g plus SL. Got it? And so on. All these parameters are calculated. Few parameters additionally I have considered over here, which is the conductance and reactance, admittance parameters, because I have also in this design you can also consider, okay, very important, x is equal to k times of w, and there is one thing called II is nothing but, it is an imaginary part of your field intensity, which I have already talked about, cosine plus sinusoidal. So it is sine of x upon x. What is sine of x upon x? This is the first part of the field intensity, and this is the cosine part of the field intensity. Okay, got it? I will talk about it later in other words also. I will plot it. And display is one function which is actually going to display certain text on the command prompt.
सर इसमें थोड़ा समझ में नहीं आ पाया.
ओके, एक बार मैं आपको फिर से समझाता हूं. जो हमने प्रेजेंटेशन की बात करी है, वही चीज हम लोग यहाँ पे समझाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. मैं आपको प्रेजेंटेशन ओपन कर लेता हूं साइड में। ओके, देखिए हमें ये चीज डिजाइन करनी है। दिस इज द माय केस स्टडी। प्रेजेंटेशन दिख रहा है आपको? देखिए आरटी ड्यूराइड की बात की हमने। आरटी ड्यूराइड में अपने
भैया
एच दिया हुआ है, एच की वैल्यू हमको दी है 0.508 मिलीमीटर, ठीक है। देन हमको एप्सिलॉन आर दिया हुआ है, क्योंकि ड्यूराइड के लिए हमें पता है कि एप्सिलॉन आर की वैल्यू, प्लीज अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ, ओके, म्यूट योरसेल्फ। देन हमें फ्रीक्वेंसी दी गई है 1.9 गीगाहर्ट्ज, ठीक है, और हमें Zin दिया हुआ है जो हम एंटर करेंगे, क्लियर है। तो ये 4 पैरामीटर हमें सबसे पहले एंटर करवाने हैं। तो इसको एंटर करवाने के लिए हमने सबसे पहले जो प्रोग्राम में एंटर करा है वो सबसे टॉप पे अगर आप देखेंगे तो हमने एक फंक्शन लिखा डिस्प्ले। क्या एंटर कराना है आपको? एंटर द अननोन पैरामीटर्स। तो ये अपने को एक सबसे पहले एक मैसेज प्रिंट होके आएगा कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट पे, जिसपे लिखा रहेगा कि पैरामीटर एंटर करें। फिर सबसे पहले लिखेगा ई इज इक्वल टू के बाद आपको एक मैसेज मिलेगा विच इज एंटर। जब भी हमको किसी यूजर से इनपुट कराना है पैरामीटर, तो हम लोग क्या यूज करते हैं? इनपुट फंक्शन यूज करते हैं। ओके, इनपुट फंक्शन देखिए सिंगल कोटेशन के अंदर हम लोग इनपुट करा रहे हैं एंटर द परमिटिविटी। तो मतलब परमिटिविटी एंटर करेगा सामने वाला, उसका वैल्यू होगा 2.2, हम लोग एंटर करेंगे। नेक्स्ट हमारा क्या रहा है? एच, ठीक है। तो एच की वैल्यू क्या है आपकी? एच की वैल्यू है 0.508 मीटर, जो आपका प्रॉब्लम में दी गई थी। देन हमें फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ ऑपरेशन दी गई थी 1.9 गीगाहर्ट्ज, ठीक है, और हमें Zin की वैल्यू दी गई है विच इज अराउंड 151 ओम्स। यहां तक क्लियर है आपको? इसके बाद हमने क्या लिखा? सी यानी वेलोसिटी ऑफ लाइट। तो वेलोसिटी ऑफ लाइट कितनी होती है आपकी? 3 × 10⁸। तो यहां आप देखेंगे मैंने लिखा 3E8। 3E8 मतलब 3 × 10⁸। क्लियर है? तो मैंने वेलोसिटी ऑफ लाइट ऊपर डिफाइन कर दी। इसके बाद हमको क्या डिफाइन करना था? हाइट। तो व्हाट इज हाइट? जो मैंने ऊपर पैरामीटर h मिला है अपने को, यहां से h की वैल्यू मैंने डाली थी 0.508, बट वो मिलीमीटर में है, इसलिए मेरे को उसमें 10⁻³ मल्टीप्लाई करना पड़ा। फ्रीक्वेंसी गीगाहर्ट्ज में, इसलिए मैंने उसको 10⁹ से मल्टीप्लाई किया, ठीक है। और वेवलेंथ निकाला। व्हाट इज वेवलेंथ? वेवलेंथ का फॉर्मूला होता है C/F, ठीक है। तो C/F से वेवलेंथ निकाली। देन अब हम लोग सीधे सीधे डिजाइन पे जाते हैं वापस। ओके, व्हाट वाज माय डिजाइन पैरामीटर्स? ये देखें, सबसे पहले अपने को निकालना होता है W। सो व्हाट वाज द माय फार्मूला फॉर W? W का फार्मूला होता है ये, दैट इज C/2 × F0। F मतलब जो मैंने फ्रीक्वेंसी ली हुई है, मल्टी एंड अंडर रूट ऑफ εr प्लस, ठीक है। इस फॉर्मूले का यूज किया अपन ने, W निकाला। W के लिए क्या लिखा अपन ने? C। तो हमने एक ब्रैकेट ओपन किया, C डिवाइड बाय 2 × F, ये एक सिंगल पैरामीटर मिल गया, तो C/2F कैलकुलेट कर लिया। और अब इस C/2F क्योंकि डिनोमिनेटर में है, तो इस पैरामीटर के अंदर ये पैरामीटर मल्टीप्लाई हो रहा है डिनोमिनेटर में, तो देयरफॉर आई हैव जस्ट अप्लाइड इट ब्रैकेट, देन मल्टीप्लाइड बाय स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ 2/εr + 1, ठीक है। तो ये हमारा W आ गया भाई, क्लियर है? ओके, देन इसके बाद में अब आपको डिजाइन पैरामीटर्स में निकालना है L इफेक्टिव। तो सबसे पहले मैंने εr निकाला। εr का फॉर्मूला ये दिया हुआ है आपको, दैट इज εr इफेक्टिव का फॉर्मूला क्या है? εr + 1/2 प्लस εr - 1/2 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 1 + 1/2 1 + 12 × h/w का स्क्वायर रूट, ठीक है। तो इस फॉर्मूले का यूज करेंगे हम लोग εr निकालने के लिए। देन λL, del L निकालने के अपन लोग ये फॉर्मूला यूज कर रहे हैं, ठीक है। दैट इज व्हाट? हाउ मच? 0.142 × h, देन इफेक्टिव into 0.13 W/h into 0.016 h। समझ में आई बात? तो ये सबसे पहले यहां देखेंगे मैंने इफेक्टिव, E इफेक्टिव निकाला। कैसे निकाला? εr + 1/2 प्लस εr - 1/2 into स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ, स्क्वायर रूट एक फंक्शन है जो स्क्वायर रूट निकालता है, अंडर रूट निकालता है, 1/1 + 12 × h/w, ये अपना फॉर्मूला था। क्लियर है भाई? अब फॉर्मूला यूज किया हमने,
यस सर।
ये फॉर्मूला यूज किया। इसके बाद अपन ने क्या यूज करा? अगला फॉर्मूला L इफेक्टिव। तो मैंने L इफेक्टिव आपको बताया, L इफेक्टिव का फॉर्मूला होता है C/Fr × εr इफेक्टिव अंडर रूट, ये फॉर्मूला है आपका L इफेक्टिव का। सो C/2 of Fr × अंडर रूट ऑफ L इफेक्टिव। तो यहाँ पे देखेंगे एल इफेक्टिव निकाला C/2 इंटू एफ इंटू स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ एल इफेक्टिव, ठीक है। देन इसके बाद क्या निकालना था आपको, डेल एल निकालना था, ठीक है, डेल एल निकालना था। डेल एल का फॉर्मूला क्या है, इसके ऊपर दिया हुआ है डेल एल का फॉर्मूला, ये है, देखिए 0.412H, ठीक है, मल्टीप्लाइड बाय एप्सिलॉन इफेक्टिव प्लस 0.3 W by H इंटू 0.264 दिस, ये चीज क्लियर है। तो इस फॉर्मूले का यूज करके मैंने एल इफेक्टिव निकाला, डेल एल निकाल दिया। और इसी तरीके से जितने फॉर्मूले हमने यहाँ पे डिफाइन किए हैं, ये देखिए, लेमडा जी निकाला, एफ एल इज इक्वल टू लेमडा जी बाय 2 निकाला, एफ डब्ल्यू निकाला, एपी निकाला, जो सीक्वेंस में मैंने आपको पूरा फॉर्मूला यहाँ प्रेजेंटेशन में बताए हैं, बस यही सारे फॉर्मूले हम लोग सीक्वेंस में लगाए हैं। क्लियर भाई, इज दैट थिंग इज क्लियर टू एवरीवन? ओके, नाउ लेट मी रन दैट प्रोग्राम. So if in order to run that program, I'm just executing the program for you. Okay, देखिए जब मैंने प्रोग्राम एंटर करा तो हम लोग कहां चले गए, प्रोग्राम एंटर करने के बाद हम लोग गए मैटलैब कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट पे। ये कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट है, यहां देखिए कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट है। क्लियर, क्या पूछ रहा है आपसे, सबसे पहले उसने बोला एंटर द नोन पैरामीटर्स। तो what is the first parameter? Enter the permittivity. Permittivity is how much? 2.2. So I will. And what is the height of substrate? It is 0.508 meters. Sorry, millimeters. What is frequency? It is 1.9 gigahertz. Automatically it is getting gigahertz. Next is input impedance, 151 approximate. Now see how fast is this? Entire design is there. ओके, आपके पास सारे डिजाइन है, आपके पास देखिए व्हाट इज पेच विड्थ। पेच विड्थ मतलब हमारे पास में पेच का विड्थ है 62.145 mm मिलीमीटर। देन पेच की लेंथ कितनी है 53.30, दैट मींस 6.2 सेंटीमीटर का पैच विड्थ है। देन हमारा लेंथ जो है पेच लेंथ उसकी वैल्यू है हमारी 53.0208 mm। ओके, इज इट अ गुड डिजाइन? नो, इट इज नॉट अ गुड डिजाइन। व्हाई? बिकॉज माय W/L रेशियो इज लेस देन 1। ओके, so I need to change something in the design. What can you change? Your input impedance you can change. You can set your impedance. It is not perfectly matched antenna. For that, it is not perfectly matched antenna. Why it is not a perfectly matched antenna? Because W/L ratio should be somewhere around 1 to 1.5. Okay, so you have to again retune it. Then you have to change that input impedance, and then you can tune where exactly you are getting that W/L ratio is within approximately 1. Clear? Is that thing is clear? The substrate width is this much, and then substrate length, it is 6 times of this value, and so on. Inset feed value I have already calculated 13.15. Inset gap is this mm. Radiation width I have calculated, that is 101.16 mm. Then radiation length is that is radiation width is calculated as what? W plus 6 times of H. Okay, and so on. Got that? So this was the first code. Let me talk about another code. Is there any doubt right now? I have another code. I have one more case study which will take around 5 minutes. Where we will talk about electric field intensity. How can you plot the electric field intensity of the antenna? So I am skipping one part here. This is electric field intensity. So now see, what was my frequency? The frequency is 1.2 gigahertz. I have taken it 1.2 gigahertz now. Epsilon r is equal to 2.2. Then h is 0.508. Height is h upon 100, that is 1000 because it is in millimeter, into 2.548. Then w is equal to 30 upon 2 into frequency, that is frequency of operation FQRT, into a square root of this, so that is width. Then हमने epsilon r निकाला, r effective, that is again the same thing, same formula, epsilon r plus 1 plus epsilon r minus 1/2 plus 1/2 into h by WL into 12. Then हमारा next formula हम लोगों ने निकाला del L का formula हमारा दिया हुआ था, that was 0. See here, del L is the next length, this length, 0.2 plus height of antenna plus effective r plus this. We have calculated this. Then हमने lambda निकाला, lambda is equal to what? 30 upon frequency under root of epsilon r. Okay, that is the length हो गया. Then lambda 0 निकाला, lambda 0 is 30 upon frequency निकाला, यानी कि lambda g हो गया ये, यानी कि हमारा lambda g मतलब गाइड वेवलेंथ हो गई. देन हमारी एल इफेक्टिव लेंथ निकाला, λ/2 इज द इफेक्टिव, देन L माइनस एल इफेक्टिव इन प्लस ट्वाइस ऑफ डेल निकाला तो एक्चुअल लेंथ मिल गई। ये सारा पूरा हमारा डिजाइन बिल्कुल सेम चल रहा है। लास्ट में आते हैं हम लोग, रेडिएशन रेजिस्टेंस का फॉर्मूला लगाया है, एंड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, हमको रेडिएशन फील्ड पैटर्न प्लॉट करना है। इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड पैटर्न का जो फॉर्मूला है हमारे पास में, रेडिएशन रेजिस्टेंस का फॉर्मूला तो आपको क्लियर है। रेडिएशन रेजिस्टेंस का फॉर्मूला स्क्रीन पे है, दैट इज 120 इंटू लैम्डा डिवाइडेड बाय 1 माइनस k0 स्क्वायर इंटू h स्क्वायर अपॉन 24। वहां पे k0 की वैल्यू कितनी है, 2 पाई f अपॉन 30। ठीक है, तो ये हम फॉर्मूला यूज करेंगे। इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड पे हम लोग आते हैं। इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड की इक्वेशन ये है मेरे पास में, ई थीटा इज इक्वल टू साइन थीटा के डब्ल्यू साइन थीटा साइन फाइव। तो यहाँ पे आप देखिए दो चीज इंपॉर्टेंट है, एक तो थीटा, थीटा वर्टिकल एंगल है, और जो फाई है हॉरिजॉन्टल एंगल है। क्लियर है, इतना तो क्लियर होना चाहिए अगर हम डिजाइन कर रहे हैं, रिसर्चर रहेंगे एंटीना डिजाइन पे, एंड अदरवाइज यू कैन एनी टाइम टॉक टू मी, वी विल डिस्कस फर्दर फिजिकली। ओके, नाउ सी हियर, हमको सबसे पहले डिफाइन करना है फाई। फाई इज अ हॉरिजॉन्टल एंगल।
इसका पीडीएफ बना के ग्रुप में सेंड कर दीजिएगा।
हाँ, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, मैं शेयर कर दूंगा, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है कोड्स, है ना। क्लियर, यहाँ देखिए फाई 0 से लेकर 360 तक वेरी कर रही है। फाई की वैल्यू होगी 0 से 360 तक, क्योंकि फाई हॉरिजॉन्टल एंगल है। थीटा वर्टिकल एंगल है, तो थीटा की मैक्सिमम रेंज होती है 0 से 180। नाउ सी, दिस इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ मैटलैब, हमें यहाँ पे लूप नहीं लगाना, यहाँ पे सिंगल लाइन के अंदर हम लोग डिफाइन कर रहे हैं। देखिए, इफ यू राइट डाउन phi1, if you write down phi1 is equal to, please unmute yourself, phi1 is equal to 0 कॉलन 360, मतलब हम 0 से लेकर 360 तक जाएंगे। थीटा की वैल्यू कितनी है, 0 से लेकर 180, तो हम लोग 0 से लेकर 180 जाएंगे। एंड देन फाई इज इक्वल टू व्हाट, पाई फिल डिवाइडेड बाय 180 इंटू पाई, ये हमारा इंक्रीमेंट है पाई का, थीटा का इंक्रीमेंट है। सिमिलरली थीटा का इंक्रीमेंट कितना जा रहा है, थीटा का इंक्रीमेंट जा रहा है θ1 डिवाइडेड बाय 0.2 इंटू पाई। क्लियर, अब ये तो मैंने सिंपल थीटा की रेंज डिफाइन कर दी। रेडिएशन इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड का फॉर्मूला देखें आप, ई थीटा, क्या फॉर्मूला मेरा ई थीटा का, साइन, सबसे पहले मैंने लिखा साइन मल्टीप्लाइड बाय k0। तो यहाँ देखें मेरे को k0 की जरूरत पड़ रही है, k0 मैंने ऊपर यहाँ पे डिफाइन कर रखा है समवेयर। ये देखें आप, k0 की वैल्यू कितनी थी हमारी, 2 पाई f अपॉन 30। याद है आपको, k0 की वैल्यू हम लोगों ने सबसे लास्ट में लिखी है, दिस इज k0 इज इक्वल टू 2 पाई f अपॉन 30। वाई 30, मैं 30 यहाँ पे क्यों ले रहा हूँ, क्योंकि वो मेरा लैम्डा है। जनरली k0 होता है बीटा, बीटा आपको याद होगा, बीटा डी कॉस थीटा लेते हैं हम लोग डिजाइन करते समय। बीटा यानी प्रोपेगेशन कांस्टेंट है, और प्रोपेगेशन कांस्टेंट की वैल्यू होती है 2 पाई बाय लैम्डा इंटू एफ। ओके, तो वो इसीलिए हम लोग k0 ले रहे हैं, दैट इज 2 पाई f बाय लैम्डा। क्लियर है ये चीज, ओके। और उसके बाद में इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड का फॉर्मूला लगाया है यहाँ पे, देखिए आप, ई थीटा इज इक्वल टू साइन ऑफ k0 इंटू h/2 इंटू कॉस थीटा मल्टीप्लाइड बाय कॉस थीटा इंटू k0 इंटू l/2। तो एक जगह w/l आ गया, हाइट मतलब w है, w/2 आ गया, और एक जगह अपना l/2 आ गया, कॉस थीटा इंटू कॉस पाई आ गया फाइनली। तो अब मेरे को इस इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड को प्लॉट करना है। ठीक है, तो हम इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड को प्लॉट करने के लिए आपको एक चीज जरूरत पड़ेगी, मैक्सिमम वैल्यू ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड। द मैक्सिमम वैल्यू ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड इज आल्सो कंसीडर्ड एज अ डायरेक्टिव गेन। तो यहां आप देख सकते हैं, आई हैव कैलकुलेटेड द मैक्स ऑफ ई थीटा वर्टिकल कंपोनेंट, बिकॉज इट इज द थीटा कंपोनेंट व्हिच रेडिएट्स, फाई कंपोनेंट डज नॉट रेडिएट्स। इसलिए यहाँ पे देखेंगे तो मैंने ई फाई की इक्वेशन नहीं लिखी। यहाँ पे देखें, ई फाई की इक्वेशन यहाँ पे आपकी साइन ऑफ दिस k0 दिस, फिर हमने ई फाई का भी मैक्सिमम निकाला है। क्लियर है, यहाँ तक क्लियर होना चाहिए। और सिंपली आप यहाँ देखेंगे मैंने प्लॉट किया है, लेकिन नॉर्मल प्लॉट फंक्शन यूज नहीं करेंगे, क्योंकि आपको पोलर प्लॉट बनाना है। पोलर प्लॉट करने के लिए यहाँ एक मैटलैब का फंक्शन होता है विच इज कॉल्ड एज पोलर, POLAR, पोलर। अब पोलर किस किस के बीच बनाना है आपको, पोलर बनाना है मेरे को, एक हॉरिजॉन्टल में पैरामीटर है फाई, वर्टिकल पे पैरामीटर है मेरे पास में ई थीटा मतलब ये देखिए ई फाई NR, ये इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड इंटेंसिटी, इसको प्लॉट किया अपन ने। ठीक है, और ब्लू कलर की लाइन से रिप्रेजेंट किया है। टाइटल क्या मेरा, रेडिएशन प्लॉट ऑफ ई थीटा एंड एच प्लेन। एग्जीक्यूट द प्रोग्राम फॉर यू। थोड़ा सा टाइम ले रहा है एक्चुअली में, सिस्टम स्लो हो गया है ऑनलाइन के चक्कर में। ये देखें आप, इज दिस फिगर इज विजिबल, ये फिगर आप लोगों को दिखा है? यहाँ पे आप देखेंगे ई थीटा और ओके, सो दिस इज द यूनिडायरेक्शनल रेडिएशन पैटर्न व्हिच वी एक्चुअली प्लॉटेड फॉर द एंटीना डिजाइन। यहाँ पे आप देखेंगे इसकी लेंथ है कि आर एल जो मैंने निकाला हुआ है, लेंथ ऑफ द पैटर्न, विड्थ ऑफ द पैटर्न निकाली हुई है हम लोगों ने, हाफ पावर बीम विड्थ का फॉर्मुलेशन है, वी कैन कैलकुलेट दैट हाफ पावर बीम विड्थ फ्रॉम, इसका अगर 0.707% मैक्सिमम से 70% अगर आप नीचे जाते हैं और इन दोनों पॉइंट के बीच की विड्थ निकालेंगे तो हाफ पावर बीम विड्थ मिल जाएगी आपको, एंड सो ऑन। ठीक है, अब मैं आपको एक और कोड दिखा रहा हूँ, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू एक्सप्लेन, मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है। मैडम 2 मिनट और ले सकता हूँ?
यस सर, यस सर।
I am just going to show them one case study of probe feed antenna. This is the case study for probe feed antenna. अभी देखिए स्टार्टिंग का पूरा पोर्शन सेम है, बट लास्ट में अगर आप देखते हैं यहाँ पे जब भी मैं एंटीना डिजाइन पे काम करता हूं तो मुझे इसके इक्विवेलेंट सर्किट के ऊपर काम करना पड़ता है, और इक्विवेलेंट सर्किट से हम लोग कैलकुलेट करते हैं इसकी इक्विवेलेंट कैपेसिटेंस, कंडक्टेंस, रिएक्टेंस, और उसके बाद उसकी इंपीडेंसेस कैलकुलेट की जाती हैं, जेड इंपीडेंस, और फिर उसका क्वालिटी फैक्टर निकाला जाता है, परसेंटेज बैंडविड्थ इंप्रूवमेंट कितना आप देखते हैं, क्वालिटी फैक्टर सिंपली कुछ नहीं होता है, इट इज 1/√2 ऑफ बैंडविड्थ, ओके, √2, 1/√2 into bandwidth, that is 0.707% of bandwidth is the actual quality factor of the antenna consideration, ठीक है। और उसके बाद हम लोग उसके मतलब जो एक्चुअल ये चीज, इसके लिए मैं आपको एक पेपर शेयर कर दूंगा, देयर इज वन पेपर फॉर एंटायर वर्क, है ना, और वो पेपर में आप लोगों को सबको शेयर कर दूंगा। मैडम कोई ग्रुप हो तो बता दीजिए, मैं मैडम आपको शेयर कर दूंगा, आप बाकी लोगों से शेयर कर दीजिएगा, ठीक है।
जी सर।
दिस एंटायर फॉर्मुलेशंस इज गिवन इन दैट पेपर, आप उस पेपर को देखेंगे, उसमें ये सारे फॉर्मुलेशंस हैं जहां पे हम लोग एक रेजिस्टेंस निकाल रहे हैं, इक्विवेलेंट इंडक्टेंस निकाल रहे हैं, इक्विवेलेंट कैपेसिटेंस निकाला गया है, देन उसको जेड इंपीडेंस मैचिंग किया गया, तो इंपीडेंस मैचिंग के बाद में मैच्ड इंपीडेंस कितनी होगी वो कैलकुलेट की गई है, ठीक है। आई जस्ट एग्जीक्यूट द प्रोग्राम फॉर यू एंड वी विल सी द आउटकम्स। I think I have entered something. Probe field line number 53, column number 2. So see, that is the beauty of MATLAB. MATLAB आपको ये बताता है, चलिए ये भी एक एक्सपेरिमेंट हो गया, MATLAB आपको यहाँ सिंपल बता रहा है कि कितने नंबर लाइन, बिकॉज इंटरप्रेटेड बेस्ड लैंग्वेज है, बहुत सारी एरर नहीं आएंगी, आप तो इसके सबसे ऊपर वाली एरर देखा करो टॉप पे, अगर इसके नीचे बहुत सारे एरर भी हैं तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, आपको सीधे यहाँ देखना कि किस फंक्शन में क्या एरर है। लाइन नंबर 53 पे कॉलम नंबर 2 पे कुछ हमने एंटर कर दिया गलती से, अभी आपको एक्सप्लेन करते समय, ओके। ये देखिए मैंने, अगर आप देखते हैं यहाँ पे, तो यहाँ पे आ गया था आपका 8R, गलती से वो एंटर हो गया होगा, मैं व्हाइल आई वाज एक्सप्लेनिंग यू, ओके। ये देखिए एक प्रोग्राम हमारा एग्जीक्यूट हो गया है एंड आउटकम्स हमको मिलेंगे मैटलैब के ऊपर। सी, दीज आर माय आउटकम्स, ठीक है। ये सारा जो हम लोगों ने वहां पे डिजाइन किया हुआ है, हमारा क्वालिटी फैक्टर कितना है एंटीना का, देन हमारा बैंडविड्थ परसेंटेज इंप्रूवमेंट कितना है 1.12, दैट मींस माय बैंडविड्थ इज अराउंड 1.12 टाइम्स of the actual frequency range, clear, and then quality factor is been calculated, error percentage is 82%, effective percentage epsilon r का, then हमारे जो सर्किट पैरामीटर्स हैं CAD एनालिसिस, देयर इज, आप सर्च करेंगे नेट के ऊपर तो पैरामीटर मिलेंगे आपको CAD डिजाइन, CAD मींस कंप्यूटर एडेड डिजाइन ऑफ पैच एंटीनास, उसके फॉर्मुलेशंस अलग होते हैं और नॉर्मल पैच एंटीना डिजाइन के फॉर्मुलेशंस अलग होते हैं, सो दिस फॉर्मुलेशन इज कंसीडर्ड फॉर द CAD डिजाइन एंड दैट इज आल्सो फॉर प्रोब फीड। फॉर प्रोब फीड एंटीना उसका इक्विवेलेंट सर्किट डायग्राम में पहले इंडक्टेंस आएगा, एक रेजिस्टेंस आएगा, देन उसके पैरेलल में कैपेसिटेंस आएगा, देन इट इज फॉलोड बाय द रेजिस्टेंस एंड इंडक्टेंस कैपेसिटेंस ऑफ एंटीना, तो ये इलेक्ट्रिकल इक्विवेलेंट सर्किट होता है। सो आई थिंक दिस इज व्हाट ऑल अबाउट फ्रॉम माय साइड। मैम, आई एम वाइंडिंग अप द सेशन, इज देयर एनी क्वेरीज?
Any queries from audience?
Any queries? See, there are a lot to talk about for microstrip antennas, even for antenna array designing is an independent field of research, antenna synthesis is an independent field of research, we can talk about it also, हमने design किए हुए हैं, but how much we can talk about within 1.5 hour? I think my goal was to tell you the design constraints, मैंने आपको design constraints बताने की पूरी कोशिश की है as a beginner, and you have to just formulate your formulations, mathematical formulations. Once your mathematical formulations is done, then designing is not a big deal in MATLAB. Okay, मैडम मैं 2 मिनट लूं क्या? 1 मिनट,
जी सर।
जस्ट अ मिनट मैडम, मैं एक बार शेयर कर रहा हूँ स्क्रीन जस्ट फॉर लास्ट 2 मिनट्स, बिकॉज एक मेरे को लिंक शेयर करनी है लोगों से। ओके, इनिशियली ये स्क्रीन आपको दिख रही है मैडम? इज इट विजिबल?
यस यस सर।
यहाँ देखिए, मैं आपको सिर्फ ये दिखाना चाहूँ क्योंकि मैं ये इसको रन नहीं कर सकता, मेरे पास मैटलैब का ओल्डर वर्जन है। बट अगर आप एक्चुअली में एंटीना डिजाइन कर रहे हैं तो प्लीज गो फॉर द एंटीना डिजाइन टूल बॉक्स। ओके, आई डोंट हैव एंटीना डिजाइन टूल बॉक्स राइट नाउ अवेलेबल इन माय दिस लैपटॉप. It was in earlier other laptop on 2018 version, but since I am not having, so I am not going to execute. But मैं आपको एक क्राइटेरिया बता देता हूँ। यहाँ देखिए, मैं एक एंटीना पे क्लिक कर रहा हूँ, दैट इज पैच एंटीना, एंड देयर इज अ सिग्निफिकेंट डॉक्यूमेंटेशंस अवेलेबल। आप डायरेक्टली आप यहाँ से कोड यूज कर सकते हैं। यहाँ देखिए पैच एंटीना का डिजाइन, there is one description given for the patch antenna over here. लेंथ दी गई है, इसकी विड्थ दी गई है, हाइट दी गई है, एंड अगर आप इसको नीचे देख स्क्रॉल करते हैं, देयर इज एन एग्जांपल गिवन हियर फॉर द डॉक्यूमेंटेशंस। इसमें जो जो आपका प्रोग्राम वाला पार्ट है, जस्ट यू जस्ट कॉपी दिस पोर्शंस व्हिच इज द प्रोग्राम पार्ट, जस्ट कॉपी दिस पोर्शंस, पेस्ट इट सीक्वेंशियली टॉप टू बॉटम इन मैटलैब, एंड एक सिंगल फाइल बनाइए और एग्जीक्यूट कर दें। अगर आपके लैपटॉप में एंटीना डिजाइन टूल बॉक्स है, then it will work right away there. It is very easy to do it in MATLAB, very easy to do it in MATLAB. यहाँ देखें आप, यहाँ मैंने कौन सा एंटीना लिया हुआ है? पैच माइक्रोस्ट्रिप एंटीना। इसी तरीके से बहुत सारे एंटीना होते हैं, पैच माइक्रोस्ट्रिप ई नॉच, पैच माइक्रोस्ट्रिप एच नॉच, आप डिफाइन कर सकते हैं अलग अलग एंटीनास को, और जो भी एंटीना आप डिजाइन करेंगे वो आपको डिजाइन करके मिल जाएगा। देन इसको प्लॉट करा गया, देखिए यहाँ पे प्लॉट किया है, तो ये मेरा देखें आप एंटीना का नीचे सबस्ट्रेट दिया हुआ है, बेस दिया गया है, और जो मैंने इनपुट पैरामीटर्स पास किए हैं उसके हिसाब से मेरा नॉच डिजाइन होके आया। नेक्स्ट स्टेप पे हमने डायलेक्ट्रिक डिफाइन किया। आप देखेंगे D is equal to, there is one function available in latest toolbox of means latest 2020 and 2019 as well as 2018 afterwards MATLAB version, it is available. Then डायलेक्ट्रिक सबस्ट्रेट हमने डिफाइन किया, तो यहाँ देखें आप सबस्ट्रेट बन गया हमारा, जो पहले नहीं था, ग्रीन कलर पैच, दिस इज अ डायलेक्ट्रिक सबस्ट्रेट व्हाट आई हैव डिजाइंड हियर। देन ड्यूराइड लिया हुआ है मैंने, ड्यूराइड के लिए 2.2 एप्सिलॉन r हमने डिफाइन किया हुआ था, तो ये ड्यूराइड आपको यहाँ मिल गया। ठीक है, यहाँ ऊपर आप देखेंगे तो डायलेक्ट्रिक के अंदर मैंने FR4 लिखा हुआ है। ठीक है, FR4 की जगह आप यहाँ पे बहुत सारे डायलेक्ट्रिक्स अवेलेबल हैं जिस पे आप वर्क कर सकते हैं। यू कैन वर्क ओवर वेरियस डायलेक्ट्रिक्स। अगर FR4 की जगह आप ड्यूराइड ले लेंगे तो इट विल वर्क फॉर ड्यूराइड। सिंपल डिजाइन, आप एनालिसिस इज वेरी इजी, आपको सिर्फ सबस्ट्रेट का मटेरियल चेंज करना है, डिजाइन अपने आप चेंज हो जाएगी। देखिए रेडिएशन पैटर्न प्लॉट करके आपको दिया गया है, यूनिडायरेक्शनल रेडिएशन पैटर्न, मैंने 2D में प्लॉट किया था। दिस इज अ थीटा डायमेंशनल रेडिएशन पैटर्न बीम व्हिच इज प्लॉटेड ओवर हियर, एंड इन ऑर्डर टू प्लॉट द रेडिएशन इन पैटर्न देयर इज वन फंक्शन कॉल्ड पैटर्न, PATTERN, PATTERN पैटर्न। पैटर्न इज अ फंक्शन व्हिच इज अवेलेबल इन लेटेस्ट MATLAB। आपके पास में 2019 या 2020 वर्जन होना चाहिए, और अगर हो सका उसमें एज अ यूनिवर्सिटी पार्ट आई विल सजेस्ट टेक अ एंटीना डिजाइन टूल बॉक्स, क्योंकि उसमें ऐप भी अवेलेबल होता है, सीधे सीधे ऐप के थ्रू आप डिजाइन कर सकते हैं। इट बिकम्स वेरी इजी फॉर द रिसर्चर्स टू एनालाइज। सी सब कुछ मिल रहा है यहाँ, आप देखें डिजाइन मिल गया, फाइनली मेरे को ये भी मिल गया, इंपीडेंस मैचिंग होके मिल गया। व्हाट इट, ये देखें इंपीडेंस हमने यहाँ मैच की हुई है। इफ आई एग्जीक्यूट द प्रोग्राम फॉर यू, okay, so that is what all about from my side. Okay, thank you madam for giving me the chance. I think
Thank you, sir, for valuable session. Definitely everyone get more knowledge about microstrip patch antenna, and also get the knowledge how to implement microstrip patch antenna, how to select the parameter for research, and how to do a implementation in MATLAB software. Thank you, sir, and thank you to all participants. Thank you to all.
thank you very much ma'am, thank you for inviting, indeed a pleasure. Madam, if any of the participant is having any queries, they can anytime contact me. I am available. You can share the content anytime. They can contact me about any kind of research. No issues. We are ready to guide them. Okay. Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
to
you very
all.
much, ma'am.